You share with us what you think and what is this four-pillar idea of identity?
Right. Well, whenever I say 4 pillars, I can only ever remember 1 or 2 of them. But 4 levels is better. So most of the world, like yourselves and even me to a certain extent, are moving around and they're asked, who are you? So when you move to another culture, the top level are what one could call culture and cultural rules, summarized in when in Rome, do as the Romans do. So when in England, drive on the left-hand side of the road, pay your taxes, pretend to love cricket and football, whatever. Play by the cultural rules, learn the sense of humor of the English and so on. All the stuff you take in the tests when you become a British citizen, remember who Shakespeare is or whatever. So you learn a set of rules which you have to learn throughout your life to play the game in the situation you are in, whether a school or country. And those cultural rules you can almost write them down, and they're not too difficult. And many cultures or peoples who come to England or go to another country find it takes a year or 2 to learn these cultural rules, and then you're a good player on that cultural. Another level is where, the deepest level is where your character. Well, a middling level is your identity. In other words, if someone says, who are you? You say, I am British, I am whatever it is. Now that's more flexible. And I'll give you a nice example that I came across recently of a young Chinese friend of mine. He's 10, and he was born and brought up in this country but he goes back to China frequently, and he speaks Chinese at home, but he's at a British boarding school and so on. When I ask him, when he's in Cambridge, where he lives, who are you? What's your nationality or nation? Or whatever? He says British, of course. Then I went on a flight back to China with him, and Air China, the hostesses are Chinese, the food is Chinese, the music is Chinese. I asked him, who you are, James. He said, I'm Chinese. So it can, you're British here, you're Nigerian in Nigeria. So that's a second level. There's one I can't remember, but the third is one that interested me recently. The place I worked in the Himalayas in Nepal was right up on the Annapurna Mountains. And the people there, who I still know and visit sometimes, they have a particular character, which I enormously admire. They were recruited into the British Gurkhas there and fought for the British because the British noticed that they were excellent soldiers because very honest, very truthful, very direct, good sense of humor, good sportsman, very loyal, hardworking, tough, all good characters. Very gentle with each other, no caste system, very egalitarian between males and females. So they were a perfect group of people to recruit into your armies. And that's what I found when I went to this village. Now, these villagers in the late 1960s onwards, almost all of them have left the village. They've gone down into local cities like Kathmandu, gone off to Hong Kong, gone to Singapore. Many of them live in North London, Brent Cross area. And I go to see them. And when I go there and I watch the families whose children have been born in this country and go to English schools and so on, they know all the cultural identities. They may never have been back to their village or speak any other language. So if you ask them who they are, they would probably say British. But in certain contexts, they will say Gurung, which is the group. But when you look at their character, the thing that is instilled in you in the first 1 or 2 years of your life by watching your parents interact and your family interact at a very deep level, how they treat women, how they treat elder people, postures and gestures, everything. When you look at that among second, third generation Gurungs, they are still the people I met in that village 50, 60 years ago, because that has been passed on, their psychology and character and their social relationships. And I think that's a very helpful thing, that this goes on for 3 or 4 generations, because it comes at a stage before you're socialized into the wider society or go to school or anything like that. So you are Nigerian at the level of your character, and you are French, Tunisian at the level of your character, but you have got these levels on top of it. So that was the theory I've been thinking about.